Ra. Ra was the most important god in ancient Egypt and was considered the god of the sun, life, and creation. The ancient Egyptians believed that every day Ra traveled across the sky in a solar boat, bringing light and life to the earth. At night, he passed through the underworld, fighting dark creatures that threatened the order of the world. Ra was also believed to be the creator of the first humans and gods, symbolizing cosmic order, power, and stability in the universe. Ra is usually depicted as a man with the head of a falcon, wearing a solar disk on his head, sometimes accompanied by the uraeus serpent, a symbol of royal protection. Pharaohs were often associated with Ra to show that their power came from his divine authority. Major temples were dedicated to him, such as in Heliopolis, and annual festivals celebrated the sunrise and sunset. Ra was also connected with other gods, like Amun, forming the combined deity Amun-Ra, who became the supreme god in later periods. Osiris. Osiris was one of the most important gods, known as the god of the afterlife, resurrection, and fertility. He ruled over the underworld and was responsible for judging the souls of the deceased, determining whether they could enter the afterlife. Osiris symbolized rebirth and the cyclical nature of life, which was closely connected to the flooding of the Nile that brought fertility to the land. Osiris is usually depicted as a mummified man with green or black skin, representing life and regeneration, wearing the Atef crown and holding the crook and flail, symbols of kingship and authority. He was the husband of Isis and father of Horus, forming a central family in Egyptian mythology. Osiris's death and resurrection myth influenced Egyptian burial practices, as people believed that through proper rituals and mummification, they could achieve eternal life just like him. Isis. Isis was one of the most beloved goddesses in ancient Egypt, known as the goddess of magic, protection, motherhood, and healing. She was the wife of Osiris and the mother of Horus, and her story is closely connected to the myth of Osiris's death and resurrection. Isis used her magical powers to restore Osiris and protect Horus from danger, making her a symbol of strength, care, and devotion. She appears as a woman wearing a throne-shaped crown or a solar disk between two cow horns. She often holds the Ankh, symbolizing life, and sometimes spreads wings to show her protective and nurturing nature. Her worship spread throughout Egypt, with major temples such as Philae, and later reached the Greek and Roman worlds, where she was honored as a goddess of life, safety, and magical power. Anubis. Anubis was the ancient Egyptian god of mummification and the afterlife, responsible for guiding souls to the underworld and protecting the dead. He played a key role in funerary rituals, overseeing the embalming process and ensuring that the deceased could safely reach the afterlife. Anubis symbolized protection, guidance, and the proper care of the dead. He is shown with the head of a black jackal and the body of a man, reflecting his connection to cemeteries and the dead. Black symbolized both the color of mummified flesh and fertility, linking Anubis to life beyond death. Often, he is portrayed holding a scepter or ankh, highlighting his authority and role in safeguarding the journey of souls. His cult was especially important in cemeteries, where priests performed rituals in his honor to ensure safe passage for the deceased. Horus. Horus was one of the most important gods, known as the god of the sky, kingship, and protection of the pharaohs. He was the son of Isis and Osiris and played a central role in the battle against Set, the god of chaos, to restore order. Horus symbolized the triumph of justice and the safeguarding of the kingdom. He is shown with the head of a falcon and a human body, wearing the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, representing unity and his authority over the entire land. The Eye of Horus became associated with him, serving as a symbol of protection, healing, and power. Horus was considered the protector of the pharaohs and the Egyptian state, and his worship had a significant influence on both political and religious life in ancient Egypt. Khnum. Khnum was one of the oldest gods in ancient Egypt, known as the god of creation and the waters of the Nile. He was believed to shape humans from clay on a potter's wheel, giving life to their bodies and creating their souls. He was also associated with the Nile's sources and floods, which were essential for the fertility of the land. Khnum is shown with a human body and the head of a ram, with large curved horns. He often holds the Ankh, the symbol of life, and appears in temples as a protector of creation and life. He was also considered a guardian of the pharaohs and of cities near water sources, highlighting his importance for stability and prosperity in Egypt. Sekhmet. Sekhmet was the goddess of power, war, and destruction. She was often seen as the protector of the pharaohs in battle and was responsible for punishing Egypt's enemies. At the same time, Sekhmet was connected to health and medicine, as she could bring both disease and healing. She appears with the body of a woman and the head of a lion, symbolizing strength, aggression, and protection. She often holds a scepter or symbols of authority and represents the fierce power of the sun. Sekhmet's worship was strong in major cities and temples, where devotees sought protection, courage, and the strength to face dangers. Bastet. Bastet was the goddess of protection, family, fertility, and cats in ancient Egypt. She was known for her ability to protect people from evil spirits and disease, while also being associated with joy, music, and dance. The ancient Egyptians considered Bastet a guardian of homes and families. She is shown either with the head of a cat or as a full cat, symbolizing protection, watchfulness, and agility. She sometimes holds the Ankh, representing life, and is depicted in temples and statues where devotees sought her protection. Bastet's worship was especially popular in the Nile Delta, where cats were regarded as sacred animals and symbols of the goddess. Maat. Maat was the goddess who represented order, justice, truth, and balance. The Egyptians believed that the entire universe operated according to her principles, and both gods and humans had to live in accordance with them to maintain harmony. She was also responsible for judging the dead in the underworld, where the hearts of the deceased were weighed against her feather to determine their fate. She is shown as a woman with an ostrich feather on her head or in her hand, symbolizing truth and balance. Her worship was fundamental to Egyptian society, as pharaohs were expected to rule according to Maat, ensuring the country's order and prosperity. Thoth. Thoth was the god of knowledge, writing, wisdom, and time in ancient Egypt. He was considered the protector of scribes and scholars and was believed to have invented hieroglyphics. Thoth also played a key role in judging the souls of the dead, recording the results of the heart-weighing ceremony conducted by Maat. He appears with the head of an ibis, or as an ibis-headed figure with a human body, symbolizing wisdom, learning, and precision. He often holds a scepter or scrolls, emphasizing his role as the god of writing and knowledge. Thoth's worship was important throughout Egypt, and he was regarded as the protector of learning, science, and logical thinking. Amun. Amun was one of the most important gods in ancient Egypt, known as the god of creation and supreme power. Originally worshipped as a local deity of Thebes, he later merged with Ra to become Amun-Ra, regarded as the supreme god and creator of the universe. Amun symbolized the hidden force of the cosmos and the eternal energy that gives life. He appears as a man wearing a tall white crown, or with the head of a ram, a symbol of strength and creation. He often holds a scepter, or an ankh, representing his authority and divine power. Worship of Amun was particularly strong in Thebes, with large temples and annual festivals celebrating his power and wisdom, and his union with Ra made him a central deity across all of Egypt. Taweret. Taweret was a goddess who represented the protection of family, motherhood, and childbirth. The Egyptians believed she safeguarded pregnant women and newborns, ensuring safe deliveries and the health of infants. She was also thought to provide protection against evil spirits and illness. She appears as a female creature with the body of a crocodile, the chest of a woman, a pregnant belly, and the legs of a hippopotamus, combining features that symbolize strength, protection, and fertility. She sometimes holds symbols of life and care and is depicted in jewelry, statues, and amulets used to protect mothers and children. Her worship was especially important within families, where she was regarded as a guardian of life and home safety. Set. Set was the god of chaos, the desert, storms, and violence. He was known as the opponent of Horus and Osiris, famously killing Osiris to gain power. Despite his aggressive nature, Set also played a role in protecting Egypt from foreign enemies and maintaining the balance of the universe. He appears with the mysterious animal head, known as the Set animal, featuring a long snout, tall ears, and a curved tail, combining characteristics of several creatures. He often holds a scepter or symbols of authority, representing strength, chaos, and disorder. Worship of Set was important in certain regions, where he was considered essential for maintaining the balance between order and chaos in the world. Sobek. Sobek was the god of water, rivers, and crocodiles. He was associated with the Nile and the fertility of the land, as the river's floods were seen as blessings for agriculture. At the same time, he symbolized strength, protection, and danger due to the aggressive nature of crocodiles. He appears with a human body and the head of a crocodile, reflecting his connection to water and his fierce power. He often holds symbols of authority or the Ankh, representing protection and life. Worship of Sobek was particularly strong in regions near the Nile, where devotees called upon him for protection from floods and dangerous animals, as well as for prosperity and abundance. Hathor. Hathor was the goddess of love, beauty, music, dance, and joy. She was often considered the protector of women, motherhood, and the pharaohs, playing a key role in promoting happiness and celebration in people's lives. She appears as a woman with the head of a cow or with a solar disk between her horns, and sometimes as a full cow. She often holds symbols of life and joy, such as the ankh and scepters, and is depicted in temples, statues, and jewelry used to honor beauty, love, and festivity. Hathor's worship was widespread throughout Egypt, and she was regarded as a goddess who brought happiness, protection, and creativity. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.